So I ran out of garden space. I'm making some more back here, there, and over here, and along the back behind that corn. But I got all these garden plants to plant, and then I got all these garden plants to put in. I grew these from seed up there in my camper on the dinette in the window with grow lights when it was cold out, using it for a greenhouse. So they're getting pretty tall now. But I decided I'm going to find all these old buckets I got, put holes in the bottom, and I made up some dirt. I mixed some dirt out of the yard. You've seen us dig holes planting in other videos. We kept that dirt and make a pile, and then we mix it with compost. And I'm going to put some fertilizer on here. And then what I didn't do before, what I thought about in these containers doing this with this compost and stuff, I wanted to make sure there's worms in here for a healthy ecosystem. So I caught 3 or 4 worms out of the yard, put in each bucket so far. And there's an eggplant here, and it's a tomato plant. I put 2 cucumber seeds and 2 seeds for yard-long green beans in this bucket. And then I'm going to set them up there on the corner of that white roof. I'm going to put them over here on the roof of the bar maybe, where they get plenty of sun. And then as the tomatoes grow and the vines and the cucumbers and stuff and the beans, they'll hang down to me instead of being on the ground for the pests and the groundhogs. And then I got to water anyway. I water here just about every day, unless it's raining. When it's time to water, I water every morning. And I got that roof there I built over my basement, Velcro doors. So I'm going to put a couple up there. Peaches are starting to come in. Not getting any yet ready, but they're setting pretty heavy on the tree. See them all? See if I can hold it still and focus for you. And then the pear tree as well. This set heavier than ever did. There's probably a good 50 pears on this pear tree. So that's what I'm doing today, and then we'll let you know in the future. We'll see how they're doing here. Thought I'd give you a little update here. Bigjimcountryboy on the garden. I ended up pulling back this mulch on the edges in the garden, and all the seedlings I had extra started, kind of like a second crop. I just planted in here now. We have pepper plants, broccoli, lettuce. That's Swiss chard there. There's a broccoli, some more lettuce, peppers. Today's the first day of July. There's the sweet corn, about 3 feet high on the high side, maybe slightly over. Some cabbages. There's a little eggplant that just went in. I grew from seeds. They're all the plants that were in the camper we traveled across the country with last year for 40 days and 40 nights. You should check out those videos too. Went to the Grand Canyon and whatnot. I got bugs in here. You can see I have a fence around here. Some kind of pests are stomaching, eating stuff like this one. This zucchini squash. And then let me jump over the fence here and I'll show you in a minute, but we'll walk around the outside. My strawberries, the plants we just put in last year. So we get strawberries, we got plenty, but they're only little tiny things. Maybe the size of 2 peas. Garden's doing okay, but it's not doing as good as I would hoped. But you know, we did get a 2-month setback here. We had a late frost this year that killed off everything, and then we had to replant. This is my one of my potato patches. You can see they're flowering up a little bit. The bees are loving the flowers. They're pollinating everything, including this zucchini. I'm a little slow with the camera. You're missing the bees because I ain't quick to hit my target. They were just in those flowers. See if I can catch him. He's back. There he is, doing his job. I trained him well. I do bee training lessons. I give them lessons on how to pollinate. So then I believe we got some broccoli here. And these are just planted in the holes of the block that border the garden. Then we got another pepper plant. There's another one doing a little bit bigger. It's a little taller anyway. And eggplant. I believe they're all Black Beauty variety. I think I got one that gets the little skinny ones on it. I don't know what this is. The leaves are a little wrinkly. I don't know if it's cabbage. It looks like it's heading up. Maybe it's a cauliflower. There's another eggplant. I let my asparagus go to fern now, so it makes more asparagus plants. You can see some more little ones that just shot up. Real thin cylindrical things. This is my watermelon. I'd hoped it had been longer on now than what it is, but it's that. Now a couple more tomato plants here. Some sweet corn. This is a Jerusalem artichoke plant. It's a little behind because it got eaten down a couple times. Like this one. Whatever the bug is or whatever is in here likes it. See that stick? That's a Jerusalem artichoke. And I have two more here. They got all eaten up a couple times. I don't know. I don't like to use pesticides, but let me go around and skate over the fence here. One thing I wanted to show you is we got this Rosa Sharon transplanting video. These are all the first batches. They're doing well, as you see in my Rosa Sharon update video. And then in another video I just planted this one because this was the one that died last year. And I dug it out and I put another one in here. What I wanted to show you is this looks like it's dead. And every bit of it was dried up like this. But I keep watering it and you can see it's growing new leaves now. It had to kind of take a break. It couldn't keep up with the hot sun. It needed to establish new roots, and it's done that. Now it's growing leaves back. So the point is, if it dies off like this, let it go until the following spring. If it doesn't grow leaves in the following spring, then it's dead. I got all these seedlings started too, to plant later. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, red cabbage, eggplant, peppers, more peppers, broccoli here. These I can just been growing in a pot. That's some leaf lettuce and some onions and some beets, sage, and marigold. So as we walk through the garden, remember this was all lawn. We put cardboard down and then mulch. And then like I said earlier, I pulled the mulch back on the end and filled it with compost because I needed more planting space right away. And there's still live roots under the cardboard underneath here, about 4 inches down. But they'll die off eventually. The absence of moisture and sunlight, the cardboard works great, as you see in my other video. And you'll see what that garden bed looks like now. Taking back the weeds, reclaiming our garden from the weeds video. You'll see what that garden looks like now. This video is kind of like an update for the whole garden. But we got more eggplant. What else do we have here? Some tomatoes. They're early girl tomato plants. I don't like to tie them up all the time because they do better on the ground. The vines will reattach and throw out more roots on the ground from that particular species of tomato plant, early girl. And it helps bring in more nutrients in the water. That's a pretty healthy eggplant there. That's over 2 foot tall. See the cabbage behind it. I'm starting to get some little peppers. Squash, bugs or something got to it. It's still flowering. This one didn't flower yet. I just bought a bunch of radishes at the supermarket the other day because they were cheap. But I let mine grow a little longer. They've been in there quite a while. Stuff's just not doing as well this year. I mean, it's growing good, don't get me wrong, it looks good. It's just, it's late. Everything's late because we had a late frost. I think the last frost that we had here, where I'm at in New Jersey, was towards the end of May. I think it was like May 23rd or 22nd. We had a cold frost. It went down cold overnight. There's some more eggplant. And then these are the buckets you saw in the other video. We had to bring them in, put them behind the fence because the groundhogs and stuff were climbing right in them, eating them. But I've got potatoes growing in this one and a tomato plant. It's hard to distinguish on the camera, I think, but that's tomato plant. And then there's potato plant. And then this got potato plants in here. This is our black raspberry bush. It actually lost all its flowers in the late frost, and it only had a couple things like that one. There was only 3 clusters or 2 clusters like that one, and then this one, all in the whole bush. And then it warmed up again and it bloomed all again and flowered. So now it's set real heavy. I think the frost actually made this plant better because now we have clusters everywhere. If I back out, you can kind of see. We're going to get a couple quarts of black raspberries off this one bush. Now this is a kiwi plant we planted last year. I don't know how long it takes, but the plant is bigger now. It dies off and grows back every year. But we haven't yet seen any kiwi fruit or flowers on it. But you can see it's over 6 feet tall climbing up this fence. There's some string I put in the back there to train it and tie it. There's some more of that peppermint we grow. It's like candy cane flavor. Then as you see the box there, this is a purple seedless grapes we planted last year vine. And me and this thing have it out like every other day. I keep moving vines and it keeps growing more. You can see I put them that way and this one over that way. Now I got a couple more getting longer here I gotta move. See, like this is a cucumber plant. It's been here forever. It's got eaten down by bugs a couple times, but it's only like 4 inches tall. I actually just ordered some more cucumber seeds I'm going to be putting in the ground in the next week. I still have time. I need to get my pickles in. Usually I'm eating cucumbers by this time. I haven't seen one yet. That's a blueberry bush and it didn't bloom or flower or nothing this year. And then we got some more potatoes here. Potatoes. And some new leaf growth here. They're growing pretty good out of the back of this bucket. You can see where the beets are coming back. They got all eaten down to a nub. That was the damage I first saw, and I moved everything into here. And then again, like this is a cucumber or cantaloupe or something. That's all that's left to it. It got eaten off, but they're still growing. I got time. I'll let them go. Pulling them out, I'm definitely not going to get anything. But all these rows that you just see, this is a different row from the one we just came around the corner there and up here. We put another 50 plants in this garden the other day along these edge rows where I pulled the mulch back. Got some peas coming in. They're fattening up. It's supposed to be eat the pod variety, but let me tell you something. Horse food's probably more tender, so I'm going to just take the peas out of the pod. That's why I'm going to let them fatten up here a little bit. The squirrels got in here and destroyed them. See how they ate the plants off and ripped them down? I since tied them up, but I think if anything, this is going to be seed stock. I'm going to try to save some for seed stock. There's more of that mint. Look at it, it looks like weeds growing everywhere. I planted cucumbers down here like 3 times. I even put some plants in here that I started the seeds. But when you look now, there's nothing left. Here, this is what's left. That's a cucumber plant. For 2 months now, it's only 4 inches long. Something gets after them. I had something chewing on a couple tomato plants again. I'll show you that a little bit. But see, I tied this early girl plant up here a little bit. You can see it's flowering. But I left this vine out here. I get more space out of it. And I threw some compost around the vine down there. See it? That'll grow roots into the ground and supply more nutrients to this part of the plant and the other part of the plant. If you lift up some of these vines down here, like that one crawls way from here, it's rooted here, or the plant root is here, and then the vine crawls all the way over here, up here. You see it to the right of that corn plant. And then there's the top of it with flowers. Let me get it in the view here. There. Now if I back out, there's the corn with the string I got to keep it protected from the wind. And then we walk all the way back over here. About 6 feet away is where it comes out of the ground. But down in here, I'll get in there and I'll lift it, I'll show you. It won't come up if you look. See? It grew roots into the ground. Where these vines lay, you can see here by my finger. Zoom in a little. See how they grow roots into the ground. And that's one of the reasons why early girl tomato plants come in early and get so many tomatoes. But I don't tie them up for that reason. I've been growing these all my life. Like this one. Here's the trunk of the plant, so to speak. And then it comes over here and it lays on the ground down there. And then it comes up to a plant again. But that vine down there is growing roots into the dirt. So, pause for a second while I climb this fence. I'll be right back. These are some potato plants I put in a tote. I put some beet seeds around the bottom, but I guess they're just getting smothered out by the potato plants. They're not really doing too much. So what I did is I just tied them up And I added some more compost in the middle, about 8 to 10 inches around the plant. And I planted some stuff in 5-gallon buckets. I put some seedlings in, and some green yard long bean seeds, and some tomato plants. And I have this bar here on my patio. Don't mind this deck, it hasn't been cleaned this year. That's my project for tomorrow. Anyway, I got that 5-gallon bucket there. I put plants up there, so instead of staking up tomato plants, they can hang down along with the beans and the cucumbers in there. There's another pail. Here's the peach tree. They're starting to get pretty big. They're a little bigger than a golf ball right now. Here's the pear tree. You can see it's setting some pears. They're about the same size as the peaches. This whole garden here, we planted seeds early spring. Carrots and beets and everything. And it came up about 2 inches high, and the frost came late, like I said, and killed everything. So I planted in here some Jerusalem artichokes, or sunchokes. There's another one. And these are potatoes. Excuse me. Allergy season. Some of the potatoes were a little late coming up. But that's okay. This will be a later crop. And then I showed you that tomato plant before that got eaten down to a nub. It's trying to grow back. I left it as long as something don't eat it again. I want to get some more chicken wire and put cages around them, or fence. This was a whole row of potatoes I planted, as you saw in my other video. This is an update of it. And they were actually 4 or 5 inches taller than what they are now. I don't know if you can see, maybe at a different angle here. I just mounted more compost against them yesterday. And then, like I said, I had more plants than I had space for. So I put these in here. That's eggplant, 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 eggplant. That may be a weed. Not sure. I didn't mark things when I planted it, so I figured I'd just let it grow. But when I transplanted everything out of the egg cartons I grew them in the bigger containers, I had trouble to tell. Some of it could have been weeds because I planted all the seedlings in this compost stuff here. But if it's a weed, I can pull it later. I thought it could be a tomatillo plant. I never grew them before, but I planted purple tomatillas this year. That's a pepper plant. And then I have this other extra space here, if I show you the width. I have this other extra space here on the left. I ordered more cucumber seeds, and I want to plant some sweet potatoes. And I'll show you that later in the video. And I ordered some sweet potato, purple sweet potato seeds. So we'll see how that'll go. And then if I turn here, I don't know if you saw my baby chick videos, 1, 2, and 3. Baby chicks part 1, 2, and 3. But here they are now. They're quite big. There's the broilers. There's 2 fat white broilers there. They're only about 11 or 12 weeks old. They're the Cornish cross kind. We're going to let them grow. That rooster there happens to be a Freedom Ranger broiler. And that hen over there is a mate. And they actually lay eggs and are for meat and they can be reproduced. So we may do that in the future. And there's the latest ones we got. You see there's smaller hens. Here's one talking to you. Say hi to all the people on YouTube. No eggs yet, but they should be any day now, next month or so. I feed them very good, feed them very well, good feed. Now this chicken tractor will move it. It's on wheels to another spot in the yard, and when we do, they eat all the grass out like in a day. How's everybody today? You want to talk to the camera some more? Say hi. How about you? You want to come in for a close-up? Come say hi. Say hi. The rooster's starting to crow. Not very loud yet, but he's crowing. There's a good shot of his mate, the hen. That's a Freedom Ranger breed, to the best of my knowledge. I had a couple big Rhode Island Reds. They passed. Something happened to them. They didn't make it. We planted these impatiens here as a border around our landscaping around the side of the house. They like to grow in the partial shade or in the shade. I water every day like I do in my garden if it doesn't rain like the storm we had last night. But some of them get bleached from the sun. They can't take it. They get white spots on them. Like this one. It's from too much sun. See, these are the ones that are in between the trees. They're not shaded by the trees. But if you get over here and you get a red one under the shade of the tree, look at the morning glories growing over it. See, they're all red. There's no white because the sun is shaded by the peach tree above here. And then inside the bed here, I planted a cucumber plant here, just looking for space. I figured the vines could run wild through here. And then I'm not sure what kind of flower this is. I think they're red hollyhocks. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments, but I don't remember what I planted. There's another one of a different kind growing there. It didn't bloom yet. But look, check this out. It had flown blooms. I should have filmed sooner. It had blooms all down the bottom here. They're dying off, and I think these are seed pods. But look how beautiful they are. Isn't that something? It's like a cone shape. You see more to come. Just spectacular. I was so pleased to see that. It was like a surprise because I planted these here bulbs as like, yeah, last year or the year before. And this is the first time I got a bloom out of it. Don't mind the mess, the remnants of this patio deck. It's been left go since last year this time. But I'm going to get after it here in the next couple days. If anybody wants to see the videos on it, leave me something in the comments there. Let me know if you want to see it, and then maybe I'll film it all. I'm going to power wash everything and put out new table covers and whatnot. That's a morning glory growing up. And they didn't do nothing last year. Last spring, my daughter threw the seeds and scattered them here, and they didn't grow. But now this year, they're growing. Even this old table stand that sits out here was another project I didn't finish. The morning glories took it over. See, I have my Bilko doors here to the basement, and I put this roof over it, keep the snow and the rain and stuff off of it a few years back. But let me get around to the front here. I have these 4 buckets I put up there. like the ones out back with plants in them. The cucumbers and stuff didn't sprout yet. Lift one down so you can see. 2 tomato plants, red cabbage, and I planted seeds in here for yard-long beans, which are 3-foot long green beans, and cucumbers. So that'll be something to see. We got the hanging pot out front here. That's marigolds and petunias, I believe. These beautiful red lilies. They're tall, they're getting top heavy, they're falling over. This is the orange one, or a tiger lily, not a wild one, but different type. The color's right on from what I'm filming too. Spot on looking at both of them. I got these tomato plants I staked up here. They're not doing all that well. There's the bay laurel tree for my bay leaves we planted. Not doing much yet. Another look at the impatiens. This is our cherry tree. This is called air layering. It's an attempt at air layering, which is to make another tree. And this was supposed to grow root ball in here, then you cut the limb off and plant it, and you have a tree get fruit the first year. I did it for the pear trees and the peach trees. And those buckets ought to work out nice. That let the vines all hang down like a curtain. And then there's another pepper plant. I made this out of an old hollow log that I split off of another one split in wood. Kind of like a birdhouse, but they never wanted to use it. And then we got them fairies that fly around, as you see in the other video. And I'm gonna try to get them on camera. They frequent this quite often. There could be one in there right now and we can't see it. They only show up in infrared on a security camera when it's on nighttime vision, infrared. Even at night, if you go out and look for them or shine a flashlight in that area, you can't see them. And when the artificial light from the flashlight hits them, they disappear even on the security camera. It's a little pebble they put in there. Look at that. Little pebble. That wasn't there. But that's a petunia, I think they're called, growing there. It was blooming the other day. It would have been a better video, but it's hard to keep that water that dry, wet in there. That ground dries out, and it doesn't get rainwater. When I water the garden, I squirt it. I have no access. I only have on the side of the street parking. There where the camper is, I can get a car to the left of the camper, and I got 2 right now to the right of the shed, but my truck's kind of like behind the guardrail. So I needed to bring down compost and mulch and stuff. So I don't really have a driveway, but I got a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. So what I did is I kind of just drove down there from the back of the truck, and you see the tire marks coming through the woods. And if I turn around, it just goes right out into my yard. There's the chickens back there. Beautiful view. So out here to the front, I put this fence around this garden. There's my new door a friend gave me. I'll probably do a video on it. It's just a door, no frame or hinges or nothing, and the glass is broke out of this one. There's a screen at the top now, but I got to take that out of there. The gladiolas are done blooming. And then there's an eggplant and a pepper plant here, right outside the front door, which strangely enough, nothing bothers it. And then this is a parsley and rosemary. That's cat grass for Tiger Kitty. And then in here we got eggplant and Squash and potatoes growing out of that pail with broccoli. They're like full gardens each one. Then there's a tomato plant there in the middle. And then we get over to the beets. Let me go in here and walk around. Some tomatoes coming in. Some of these are the old style tomato cages everybody don't like because they blow over. I tied mine to the fence. I have this cucumber growing up here. I've been training it. This is all new growth from yesterday, from my fingers up. The reason I know that is because I just tied this on yesterday. So they like to grow up. Some squash blooming. Small brassica plant of some kind, probably broccoli or cauliflower. I don't know if you can see this. It's right next to this other tomato plant. I'll try. That tomato plant starts there, comes up here, it's tied to the fence, and it's about 2 foot high. That's a volunteer tomato plant. It grew all by itself from a seed it dropped last year. That's a new kind of melon down there. I forget the name about it, but it's a burpee hybrid. It's brand new this year, I believe. I'll see if I can find the name of it and put it in the comments below, or add the text into the video when I edit it. And that's the super sauce burpee hybrid plum tomato. And then some garlic next to it. Then another early girl. I got a lot of early girl plants. On a normal year, they would have tomatoes by now. Normally you get at least a dozen tomatoes by the 4th of July. There's another garden bucket. A lot of carrots in there. The potatoes I put in that bucket, I don't believe ever grew. These are actually tomato vines coming out from the other side, coming over. Weed out of there. We don't need him in there. See, this place is cramped. I can barely walk through. I got this little narrow way and I got to watch my feet. I put the shepherd's hook here because I stepped on that guy once. Now, I believe this is an early girl or some other kind of tomato plant. It looks different by looking at it. I got to see if it's tagged. Then I just put these in here, and I just pulled out a bunch of green onions yesterday. There's green onions all the way around the rim here. They had about golf-size onions on them and smaller. Golf ball size and smaller. I made a big jar, gallon jar of pickled eggs with beets, and the onions I put in there whole. More pepper plants. We don't like green peppers much. I think I only got 1 or 2 green pepper plants. I plant all the colored ones. I got orange, yellow, red. They're pinto beans. In with the potatoes. There's beets at the bottom, but they're getting drowned out. So's the vine in there. I think there's cucumbers in there getting drowned out too. This is Swiss chard, onions. I don't know if you saw the video previously where we planted these. How to grow a garden in a bucket. But this is how they're doing now. Some more Rose of Sharon's I want to move. These are red or purple, whatever you want to call them. Yard-long beans growing here. I just put some string up yesterday to start training them. They've only been in the ground about 3 weeks. Then this is the green variety. I'm sorry, the green variety's only been here about 3 weeks. The other one's been about 6 weeks. And then there's a cucumber plant hanging in there, slowly growing. This is a bucket with squash in it. And what else do I see? Some kind of broccoli or something growing. Some onions are in the back here. There's the onions. A little broccoli plant or something. There's an eggplant down in here. I'm going to pinch off 2 of these leaves off the squash plant and just rip them off. I'm going to give that eggplant and that broccoli plant some more sun. Take 2 more leaves off here quick. This say, well, this is the bucket out front. I picked a couple leaves out of the way to give it some more light. Melon plant's dying. That's an early girl tomato plant, set and heavy. I got one tomato off of here. One small tomato I ate. That was pretty good. This is the beets that got eaten down before too. They're all growing back nice, look. And this cucumber's vines come out of there. And I'm training them up onto the fence. There's another early girl. Another bucket. That one has a tomato plant in it. It was a late plant. The potatoes are getting tall. Squash is blooming. See if there's a stake down here. Label for this one. This is kind of healthy, thick plant. Yeah, I don't see a stake label on that tomato plant. I don't know what kind it is. We'll find out later, I guess. Here's another garden bucket. Tomato plant. Some grass. This grass grows in here quick when it gets in here. It's the one I took all the onions out of yesterday. If we go out, pause this a second. If I come around the side here, some more peach trees. There's actually grapevines smothering out all these two peach trees. We let it go to see if we get grapes, but I don't know. It's just growing a lot of vine. But here's the garden we just went through. Now this is the one we saw in the video from last year, reclaiming our garden from the weeds. We put cardboard and mulch down here and killed off all the weeds, and look, it's virtually weed free. I pulled a handful of weeds out of here, that's it, all year. I actually pulled more out of these buckets from the compost that I bought. I actually got for free, I didn't buy it, but the compost I got had a lot of weed seeds in it. I've been pulling weeds out of them like crazy. Then outside the fence here, nothing seems to eat potato plants. So I planted a row of potatoes here too. So that'll be something. Then I'll meet you up here. We're gonna go up here by the road. I don't know if you saw my video, how to squirrel proof your flowers, but this is a year later. There's some of the gladiolas. They're not doing the greatest because they're in the shade behind this lilac bush, the camper, and this was a little bitty tree we had growing in the other video last year. It's like 10, 12 foot tall now, 12 or 15 feet tall. It's starting to look like a mulberry tree, but I didn't see no mulberries on it. But it's got that style leaf. But I was told there's a male and a female. That you need two to pollinate, but this didn't pollinate nothing because it didn't bloom. So maybe it's still too young. And then back to the flower squirrel proofing video. Here's an update. There's the other gladiolas getting ready. They're not bloomed yet. If I back up, they're under that tree. Look how tall that tree is versus the camper. That's something. You go back and look at the video how to squirrel proof flowers and see how little that was last year. Here's the other ones. We did these the same way, put the bulbs in chicken wire so they can't get to them. And then here, amongst this area, these are falling over. I gotta tie them up or something. That is gladiolas coming up too. The squirrels didn't eat the bulbs. They bloomed last year and they're gonna bloom again this year eventually. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. try to keep them coming. Till next time, this is Big Jim Country Boy. Thanks for watching. Please share with your friends on social media if you would. Like and subscribe, and ring that bell and click for all notifications if you'd like to be notified when I put up a new video. God bless you and your family, and God bless America.